Hollywood can turn ordinary people into legends, but it can also destroy them in silence. Behind the flashing cameras and million-dollar smiles were terrifying addictions that no award could erase. From Marilyn Monroe to Heath Ledger, these stars fought battles far darker than anyone imagined. Their shocking stories prove that sometimes the deadliest enemy isn't fame, it's what fame hides. Number 1. Elvis Presley. When people hear the name Elvis Presley, they think of screaming fans, sold-out concerts, and the king of rock and roll. He was larger than life, a man who seemed almost untouchable. But behind the rhinestone jumpsuits and legendary performances was someone fighting a private battle that few truly understood. The king ruled the stage, yet he couldn't rule the growing dependence on prescription drugs that slowly took over his life. For years, Elvis relied on a cocktail of medications, including powerful painkillers, sedatives, sleeping pills, and other prescription drugs. Those close to him watched his health decline, but his fame made it easy for people to ignore the warning signs. Ironically, the man who once received recognition for supporting anti-drug efforts was quietly becoming trapped by legal medications himself. It's a heartbreaking reminder that addiction doesn't always arrive in a dark alley. Sometimes it comes in a prescription bottle. On August 16, 1977, Elvis was found unconscious at Graceland and rushed to the hospital, where he was pronounced dead at just 42 years old. Initial public statements focused on heart problems, but later toxicology findings revealed significant levels of multiple prescription drugs in his system. Reports also described years of serious health complications linked to long-term medication use. The truth remained controversial for decades, as those around him struggled to protect the image of a global icon. Even today, millions still celebrate Elvis as one of the greatest entertainers who ever lived. Yet his story carries a powerful lesson. Fame, fortune, and endless applause cannot shield anyone from addiction. Behind one of the most recognizable smiles in music history was a man quietly losing a battle that no audience could see until it was far too late. Number 2. Cory Monteith. To millions of fans, Cory Monteith was the charming heart of Glee, the easygoing quarterback with a smile that made everything seem effortless. He looked like the guy who had finally figured life out. But appearances can be dangerously convincing. Behind the success, the fame, and the red carpets was a battle that had started long before Hollywood ever knew his name. Cory's struggle with addiction began when he was only 13 years old. As he grew older, he tried more than once to break free, entering rehab and fighting to rebuild his life. Every comeback gave fans hope that the darkest days were finally behind him. Friends described him as kind, funny, and determined to change. The heartbreaking truth is that addiction doesn't always disappear just because someone genuinely wants it to. Sometimes the fight becomes even harder after a period of sobriety. In 2013, after another stay in rehabilitation, Cory appeared to be getting his life back on track. But recovery is rarely a straight line. Following a relapse while staying in Vancouver, tragedy struck. He died from an accidental overdose involving heroin and alcohol at just 31 years old. Experts have long explained that after a period of abstinence, the body's tolerance to opioids can decrease significantly, making a relapse far more dangerous than before. That cruel reality has claimed countless lives, and Cory became one of its most recognizable victims. His death devastated fans around the world and shocked the entertainment industry. The young actor who inspired millions through music and optimism was gone far too soon. Cory Monteith's story reminds us that addiction doesn't always wear a visible face. Sometimes the brightest smile, the loudest laugh, and the biggest success can hide a struggle that no one else can see until it's tragically too late. Number 3. John Belushi. If there was ever a man who could make an entire room laugh until it cried, it was John Belushi. On screen, he was pure chaos, in the best possible way, a comedic tornado with endless energy. But once the cameras stopped rolling, the laughter faded, and another addiction quietly took center stage. In Hollywood, people joked that Belushi could out-party anyone. Sadly, that wasn't much of a joke. During the production of The Blues Brothers, cocaine was reportedly everywhere. Some insiders even claimed the film's budget unofficially made room for it. As Belushi's fame exploded, so did his dependence on drugs. Friends watched helplessly as late-night parties turned into all-night binges, and the man who once controlled every comedy scene slowly lost control of his own life. Even producers struggled to keep him standing during filming, proving that sometimes the funniest person in the room is hiding the deepest pain. In early 1982, Belushi checked into the famous Chateau Marmont in West Hollywood, but it wouldn't be another celebrity getaway. It would become the final chapter of his life. Just days after reconnecting with photographer Marcia Resnick, he was found dead inside his bungalow. The cause was a deadly speedball, a lethal combination of heroin and cocaine. He was only 33 years old. One reckless mixture ended the career of a comedy legend, leaving Hollywood to wonder how someone who brought so much joy to millions could lose the hardest battle in complete silence. If you enjoyed this video, drop a 1 in the comments. If you didn't enjoy it, drop a 0 instead. Don't worry, I can take it. Number 4. Chris Farley. Chris Farley could make an audience burst into laughter with nothing more than a funny expression or a clumsy fall. His larger-than-life personality turned him into one of the brightest stars on Saturday Night Live, and every movie he touched seemed packed with unstoppable energy. But behind that contagious smile was a man trapped in a battle that became harder to win with every passing year. The crowd saw a comedy genius. Chris saw someone desperately trying to outrun his own demons. His addictions weren't limited to one substance. Cocaine, heroin, alcohol, marijuana, and even compulsive overeating became part of a dangerous cycle that followed him for years. Friends, family, and fellow comedians like Dan Aykroyd, David Spade, and Lorne Michaels repeatedly urged him to seek help. He entered rehab, attended support groups, and even showed signs that he was finally turning his life around. Whenever he was filming, studios kept a close eye on him, because ironically, Hollywood trusted millions of dollars more than Chris trusted himself. For a while, it looked like he might actually beat the odds. But addiction has a cruel way of waiting for the perfect moment to strike back. In December 1997, after another period of hope, Farley slipped into several days of heavy drinking and drug use. On December 18th, his brother discovered him dead in his Chicago apartment. Toxicology reports found cocaine and morphine in his system, while years of substance abuse had also severely damaged his heart. He was just 33 years old. The man who spent his life making millions laugh left the world in heartbreaking silence, a reminder that the brightest spotlight can still hide the darkest struggles. Number 5. Judy Garland. Long before she became the unforgettable Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, Judy Garland was Hollywood's golden girl, the child with the dazzling smile, the unforgettable voice, and enough talent to light up an entire movie screen. Audiences saw magic every time she appeared. What they didn't see was the exhausting machine working behind the curtain. While most children worried about homework, Judy was expected to work endless hours, stay cheerful, and never gain weight. In old Hollywood, that impossible schedule came with a dangerous solution, a handful of pills. Studio executives reportedly supplied young performers with stimulants to keep them energized through grueling filming days and sleeping pills to force them to rest before the next morning's shoot. For Judy, what began as a studio routine slowly became lifelong dependence. As the years passed, amphetamines helped her stay thin and energetic, while barbiturates became the only way she could sleep. It was a cruel cycle that slowly stole the joy from one of Hollywood's brightest stars. Behind every standing ovation was a woman fighting battles the audience could never hear. Her addiction eventually affected both her health and career. Missed appointments, emotional struggles, and increasing dependence on medication overshadowed the remarkable talent that had once captivated millions. Despite continuing to perform and inspire audiences around the world, the damage had already taken its toll. On June 22, 1969, Judy Garland died from a barbiturate overdose at just 47 years old. The little girl who taught generations that there's no place like home never truly found peace herself. Her heartbreaking story remains one of the clearest reminders that beneath Hollywood's glittering surface, even its biggest stars could be quietly falling apart. Number 6. Heath Ledger. Some performances make actors famous, others become legendary. Heath Ledger's unforgettable portrayal of the Joker in The Dark Knight did both. His chilling laugh, unpredictable movements, and haunting smile transformed a comic book villain into one of the greatest movie characters ever created. Audiences were amazed by how completely he disappeared into the role. What few people realized was that behind the scenes, Heath himself was struggling to escape it. Preparing for the Joker demanded months of intense isolation and psychological immersion. Ledger later spoke about sleeping very little as he worked to develop the character's twisted personality. As insomnia became more severe, he reportedly relied on prescription medications, including sleeping pills, anti-anxiety drugs, and painkillers, hoping to get just a few hours of rest. At the same time, the pressures of fame, constant work, and the breakdown of his relationship with Michelle Williams added even more emotional weight. To the public, he looked like an actor at the peak of his career. Privately, he was fighting exhaustion that no standing ovation could cure. On January 22, 2008, Heath Ledger was found unresponsive in his New York apartment. He was only 28 years old. Authorities later determined that he died from an accidental overdose caused by the combined effects of several prescription medications. The news shocked Hollywood and millions of fans worldwide. Just months later, The Dark Knight premiered, and his extraordinary performance earned him a posthumous Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, cementing his place in film history forever. Heath Ledger left behind more than an iconic character. He left a powerful reminder that success doesn't erase personal struggles. The actor who gave the world one of cinema's greatest villains couldn't defeat the invisible battle in his own life, making his loss one of Hollywood's most heartbreaking tragedies. Number 7. Marilyn Monroe. Long before social media created global celebrities overnight, there was Marilyn Monroe. She wasn't just a movie star, she was the definition of Hollywood glamour. Her smile, platinum blonde hair, and unforgettable screen presence made her one of the most recognizable women in history. To the world, Marilyn seemed to have everything anyone could dream of. Yet behind every dazzling photograph was a woman carrying emotional wounds that fame could never heal. Throughout her career, Marilyn struggled with anxiety, depression, chronic insomnia, and the crushing pressure of living up to an impossible image. To cope, she increasingly relied on prescription medications. Stimulants helped her get through exhausting filming schedules, while barbiturates and sleeping pills became part of her nightly routine. add alcohol to the mix, and the cycle became even more dangerous. Ironically, the woman who looked so effortlessly radiant often found it difficult just to make it through another day. Hollywood adored the icon, but rarely noticed the person quietly falling apart behind the spotlight. On August 4, 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her Los Angeles home at only 36 years old. The official investigation concluded that she died from an overdose of barbiturates, though her death has remained the subject of speculation and conspiracy theories for decades. No matter which theory people choose to believe, one fact has never changed: the entertainment world lost one of its brightest stars far too soon. Her passing instantly became one of the most shocking and talked about tragedies in Hollywood history. More than 60 years later, Marilyn Monroe remains a cultural icon whose image still appears on posters, clothing, and movie screens around the world. But behind the timeless beauty was a vulnerable woman desperately searching for peace. Her story reminds us that fame can create legends, but it cannot always save the people living inside them. Number 8. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston possessed one of the greatest voices the world has ever heard. Every note she sang seemed effortless, earning her hundreds of awards and making her one of the best-selling artists of all time. To fans, she was nearly untouchable, a superstar whose talent appeared limitless. But away from the stage, another story was unfolding. The applause grew louder while her personal life became increasingly difficult to control. As the years passed, Whitney struggled with substance abuse that reportedly involved cocaine, marijuana, prescription medications, and alcohol. Her turbulent marriage to Bobby Brown often dominated headlines, while canceled performances and emotional interviews fueled public concern. Millions watched clips of her extraordinary performances, but they also watched a heartbreaking transformation that became impossible to ignore. In one of life's cruelest ironies, the woman with a voice powerful enough to fill an arena often seemed unable to silence the chaos inside her own mind. On February 11, 2012, the music world was stunned when Whitney was found unresponsive in the bathtub of her Beverly Hilton hotel room on the eve of the Grammy Awards. She was 48 years old. The Los Angeles County coroner ruled that she died from accidental drowning, with heart disease and cocaine use listed as contributing factors. Her sudden death shocked fans across the globe and marked the loss of one of the greatest vocal talents in modern history. Whitney Houston's legacy remains extraordinary. Her music continues to inspire generations, proving that true talent never fades. Yet her story is also a sobering reminder that addiction can reach even those who seem to have everything. Behind one of the most unforgettable voices in history was a woman fighting a battle that fame, fortune, and worldwide admiration simply couldn't win. Which celebrity shocked you the most when you found out they struggled with addiction? Let us know by commenting their number below. Number 9. Philip Seymour Hoffman. Some actors chase fame. Philip Seymour Hoffman chased great performances. Whether he was playing Truman Capote, a troubled priest, or a mysterious cult leader, he had a rare ability to disappear into every role. Hollywood admired him not because he looked like a movie star, but because he could make audiences believe every word he spoke. Behind that extraordinary talent, however, was a battle he thought he had already won. Hoffman struggled with drug addiction in his early 20s, but eventually got sober, remaining clean for more than 2 decades. To many people, his story looked like proof that recovery was permanent. Unfortunately, addiction doesn't always stay in the past. In 2012, after years of sobriety, he relapsed. What started as another private struggle quickly spiraled into something much more dangerous. Few people realized that one of Hollywood's most respected actors was quietly fighting for his life while still delivering award-worthy performances. On February 2nd, 2014, Hoffman was found dead in his Manhattan apartment at the age of 46. Investigators reported that he had died from acute mixed drug intoxication involving heroin and several other substances. Authorities also recovered dozens of bags believed to contain heroin, along with syringes and prescription medications inside the apartment. The discovery stunned fans around the world because the actor who seemed so calm and in control had been carrying an invisible burden all along. Philip Seymour Hoffman's death became a heartbreaking reminder that addiction can return even after many years of recovery. His remarkable career continues to inspire actors everywhere, but his final chapter also serves as a powerful warning. Success awards and worldwide respect couldn't silence the disease he had spent decades trying to outrun, making his loss one of Hollywood's most tragic and unforgettable stories. Number 10. Anna Nicole Smith. Anna Nicole Smith seemed to be living the ultimate Hollywood fantasy. She rose from small-town obscurity to become a Playboy sensation, married an elderly billionaire, starred in her own reality show, and dominated tabloid headlines for years. From the outside, her life looked like one outrageous adventure after another. But behind the glamorous photo shoots and non-stop media attention, she was slowly becoming dependent on prescription medication, and the ending was far more tragic than anyone expected. According to people who knew her, Anna's reliance on pain medication began after cosmetic surgery while she was still in her 20s. What started as treatment gradually evolved into dependence on a growing list of prescription drugs, including sedatives, anti-anxiety medications, and powerful painkillers. Friends later described her as someone who struggled to function without them. Even after surviving an accidental overdose in the 1990s, the warning signs weren't enough to stop the downward spiral. Fame kept the cameras rolling, but it couldn't stop addiction from taking center stage. By the mid-2000s, Anna's life had become increasingly chaotic. Endless legal battles, constant media scrutiny, and heartbreaking personal losses added even more pressure. Then on February 8, 2007, she was found unresponsive in a Florida hotel room. Despite emergency efforts to save her, she was pronounced dead later that day at the age of 39. The medical examiner concluded that she died from combined drug intoxication, involving multiple prescription medications, bringing one of Hollywood's most sensational lives to a devastating close. Anna Nicole Smith's story is a painful reminder that glamour can be an illusion. The woman who always appeared larger than life was quietly losing a battle that millions never truly saw. Behind the headlines, the laughter, and the tabloid drama was someone searching for happiness, but ultimately overwhelmed by addiction and heartbreak. Number 11. River Phoenix. Before Leonardo DiCaprio became the face of a new generation, many believed River Phoenix was destined to be Hollywood's next all-time great. Handsome, gifted, and overflowing with natural charisma, he earned praise from critics while still incredibly young. Fans admired his quiet personality and remarkable talent, making him one of the brightest rising stars of the early 1990s. It seemed like the sky wasn't even the limit for River until one unforgettable Halloween weekend changed everything. On the night of October 30th, 1993, River arrived at the Viper Room in West Hollywood, alongside his girlfriend, Samantha Mathis, and his siblings, Joaquin and Rain. He was expected to perform with the band P, featuring Johnny Depp and members of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. But instead of taking the stage, River suddenly began feeling seriously ill. Moments after leaving the club, he collapsed on the sidewalk, suffering violent seizures before horrified friends and bystanders. Despite desperate attempts to save him, he was pronounced dead in the early hours of Halloween morning. He was only 23 years old. The official investigation determined that River died from acute multiple drug intoxication involving cocaine and morphine, the latter being a metabolite of heroin. According to later accounts from people close to him, he had recently taken part in several days of heavy drug use with little or no sleep. The combination of exhaustion and powerful narcotics proved fatal. His death stunned the entertainment world because few people publicly associated him with serious substance abuse before that tragic night. River Phoenix left behind not only unforgettable performances, but also a heartbreaking warning. His extraordinary promise disappeared in a single evening, reminding the world that addiction can destroy even the brightest future before it truly has the chance to begin. Number 12. Robert Downey Jr. Before he became Iron Man, and one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors, Robert Downey Jr., was known for something far less heroic, his long and very public battle with addiction. Blessed with incredible talent and effortless charisma, he seemed destined for greatness from the very beginning. Unfortunately, his personal life soon became as famous as his performances. Hollywood watched in disbelief as one of its brightest stars repeatedly stumbled into scandal after scandal. Downey later revealed that his exposure to drugs began at an alarmingly young age. As an adult, his addiction escalated to cocaine, heroin, and other substances, leading to repeated arrests, failed drug tests, and multiple trips to rehab. At one point, producers considered him almost uninsurable, making it difficult for him to find work despite his remarkable acting ability. His career looked finished, and many believed Hollywood had already written his final chapter. It was a painful reminder that talent alone isn't always enough to defeat addiction. Everything changed when Downey committed himself to recovery. With support from family treatment programs and an unwavering determination to rebuild his life, he slowly earned back Hollywood's trust. Then came the role that changed everything, Tony Stark in Iron Man. The comeback wasn't just successful, it became one of the greatest redemption stories in entertainment history. The actor, once known for court appearances, was suddenly leading the biggest movie franchise on the planet. Unlike many tragic stories on this list, Robert Downey Jr.'s journey proves that recovery is possible. His past remains a powerful warning about the destructive nature of addiction, but his comeback stands as equally powerful evidence that people can rebuild their lives. Sometimes the greatest Hollywood ending isn't written in a script. It's the one someone creates after surviving their darkest chapter. Number 13. Demi Lovato. Demi Lovato grew up in front of the world. From Disney Channel stardom to chart-topping music, they seemed to have everything a young celebrity could dream of. But behind the bright lights and sold-out concerts was a painful struggle with addiction, mental health challenges, and relentless pressure. Fans watched a confident performer on stage, while offstage Demi was fighting a battle that became harder to hide with every passing year. Over the years, Demi openly spoke about struggles involving alcohol, cocaine, prescription drugs, and other substances. Multiple stays in rehabilitation gave hope that recovery was within reach, and many admired the honesty with which they discussed addiction. Yet recovery is rarely a straight path. In July 2018, after years of sobriety, Demi suffered a life-threatening overdose at their home in Los Angeles. Emergency responders rushed to save their life, and the news sent shockwaves across the entertainment world. Millions feared they were about to lose another talented star to addiction. The overdose led to weeks in the hospital and a long road of physical and emotional recovery. Demi later revealed that the incident caused severe health complications, including vision and hearing problems, making the consequences far more devastating than fans initially realized. Instead of hiding from the experience, they chose to speak publicly about the realities of addiction, reminding people that relapse is not a sign of weakness, but a dangerous part of a disease that affects millions. Number 14. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen was once television's highest-paid actor, earning millions while starring in 2.5 Men. His sharp wit, effortless charisma, and larger-than-life personality made him one of Hollywood's biggest stars. But as his fame reached incredible heights, so did his self-destructive lifestyle. What started as wild celebrity partying gradually turned into one of the most public downward spirals the entertainment industry had ever witnessed. For years, Sheen openly admitted to abusing cocaine, alcohol, and other substances while living a lifestyle fueled by non-stop parties and excess. His erratic behavior soon became impossible to ignore. Missed work, explosive interviews, and increasingly bizarre public appearances dominated headlines around the world. At one point, he famously claimed he had tiger blood and was winning comments that quickly became internet sensations. While many laughed at the outrageous statements, those closest to him recognized something much more serious unfolding behind the scenes. The addiction eventually cost Sheen one of the biggest roles on television. He was dismissed from 2.5 Men, losing a contract worth millions of dollars and damaging a career that had once seemed unstoppable. In later years, Charlie acknowledged many of his mistakes and spoke more openly about his struggles with addiction, mental health, and rebuilding his life. His journey became less about celebrity scandals and more about accepting responsibility for years of destructive choices.